Sister Kwe, you want to go first?
Okay, so the first question we'd like to ask is, this movie now, or this skit rather, the guy was looking forward to getting married and he was so excited. And the other two married people were basically like making him feel more excited, like he should get married like right away or like tomorrow. So what we want to ask is, what do you think are the advantages of being married? What are the disadvantages? And what are the advantages of being single? And what are the disadvantages?
So Pastor Krista wants to go first.
Okay, I wasn't looking forward to going first. I think one of the advantages of getting married is the fact that you don't do things alone. You have someone you can share with. And a good example is I had a really hectic week. My mom had an accident. And, I didn't have to bear that burden alone. In fact, yesterday at some point, it was my husband that was carrying my mom and all of that. So I think that's one of the beautiful things about being married. So the fact that you're not alone. Disadvantages of being married. So Zubi is going to talk about the disadvantages. I think being single, one of the key things about being single that I think we should all cherish is the fact that you can do things by yourself and not have to bother about the second person. So when I was a single person, I just carry my bag and travel. I just move without thinking about somebody, no child to bother about, no husband, I just carry my bag and just go. But now I have to consciously remember that, okay, I'm not by myself. I have to share my itinerary. I have to be open about it. So sometimes in the heat of the moment, something changes and, you have to. So this morning, I'll tell you, I was like, immediately after service, so, we have agreed this one, but I need to get to Lekki. And he looked at me as if that's how we do now, I will not get back home on time. So, but I think if I was just single, I'd have just carried my bag and just gone to Lekki without having to share. So I think that those are for me. And I don't know if it's really an advantage or I think it's just the fact that you need to grow into some things differently. But the disadvantage of the being married part, Zubi will share.
As a fellow man, let me just warn you what to share.
Okay, so what comes to mind? You see, I would say two things. I mean, the Bible can be interesting and sometimes paradoxical. So it says two are better than one, correct? That's what the Bible says. Because when one is down, the other one lifts the other one up. And then Paul goes on the other side and said that if you are single, please remain single. If you're married, don't seek to get out of it. Just stay where you are. That was Paul's view. But ultimately, God's view was he looked at marriage and said, it is good. Right. So that being said, if I want to, my wife took all the good parts of the conversation and said the man takes the bad parts. So that's one disadvantage. You get to do all the hard, most of the hard ones. And then the woman gets to do, the easy ones. Yeah, there's a testimony by my left. So that's one disadvantage, of it. Then your disadvantage as being single is when I'm broke, I have a fallback. I told my wife the other day, I say, you're my fallback brain. I don't have to think too much, about, okay, I need one small money to tie through. When you're single, is your friend. Your girlfriend is not the easiest person to ask for money. In fact, those of us that have tried it, the girl starts wondering whether this marriage is going to work. So those are the... So essentially, two is better than one. That's the conclusion of the matter.
All right, thank you very much. I don't know if Pastor Dare, Pastor Kwe wants to throw more some light on that.
Okay. Before.
All good.
Okay, if none from your side, there's something that was very instructive from the video. And the guy said, once you get married, there's no need for strong apologies, right? You just say, I mean, and there's this part of the scriptures that I love so much, Colossians chapter 3, verse 13. I will appreciate if you could please project it. Colossians 3:13. So he says, reading from here, bearing one another and forgiving one another. If any man have a quarrel against any, even as Christ forgave you, so also do ye. Where is the place of forgiveness in marriage? What is the length that we have to go to whereby we don't have to forgive, if at all? Or what are the reasons why we need to forgive? To throw some light into it, you know, some people say sorry is the easiest word to use. Sorry. Sorry now. To the extent that to some people, sorry does not mean anything. But where does sorry, apology, and forgiveness take place in the marriage? Pastor Okpe.
Hi. Good morning, everyone. Okay, in marriage, basically, you just make up your mind that you forgive or you are forgiven every sin that will come. Because the reality is that we hurt one another like every other day, every other hour. As you are ending one quarrel, even in it, you are doing another. And it goes both ways, actually. Yeah, you may say, the lady or the women are the one that are always picking fights or picking one thing or the other. But men have their own time too when they believe you didn't say it in the way. You know, you're trying to solve something and another thing is happening immediately. So forgiveness in marriage, for me, and I know for us here, is I forgive you in advance. One of the things that will help you to forgive really is listening. Really, really listening to the other person. Like Kenneth Hagin says, and our father like to say, a lot of us have darling hearts, but stupid head. So your heart, that is your intentions, may be good, but the actions may go another way. So when it comes to that, you forgive. Now the other part is, what can they now do? To what extent? Well, Jesus said to forgive how many times? How many times?
70 times 7.
Okay, so maybe we'll wait till when it is 70 times 7 times.
Per day.
Now, per day.
Per day.
Well, Pastor said per day. And Bible
It's not
says
me.
per day.
What's my own?
Jesus said per day. So the reality is that I don't know what the person would do. The extent that you will say it's you can't go back. I believe we can always find our footing. We can always take some steps back to look into it. Someone gave us, a family gave us a book recently. My husband has finished it, and I just started reading the book yesterday. It's by Kenneth Hagin, Marriage, Divorce, and Remarriage. And in fact, I was telling my husband that I should have read this book first, not you, because between yesterday night, around 9, right? Or somewhere till this, well, just yesterday, I think I did like 3 chapters. Very awesome book. I will recommend we get it. Kenneth Hagin said something that was so profound about when it is love. He says, divine love always is open to, I can't quote it the way it said it, but divine love is always open to reconciliation. you always have a reason to say, okay, let me go back and look at this thing again. So I think personally, I don't know to the extent that you can say you can't forgive again. Everyone will say, oh, it is because of this or that. And then we can get scriptures and say, oh, it's adultery or it's killing, kill someone or something. I don't know. But for me, 70 times 7 in a day.
Thank you. Pastor?
So, of course, marriage is a commitment between two forgivers. Whether you are the man or the woman, it's a default mode that no matter what the offense is, if this marriage is going to last, if it's going to work, if it's going to become what God wants it to become, then we have to make up our mind to forgive one another. Now, even the people that don't sleep on the same bed with us, they offend us. How much more the one that sleep on the same bed with you? In Yoruba, they said that the person that you sleep beside is the one that you...
General Balus.
So what that means is that you are most likely going to offend the person that is closest to you because of the proximity. However, the ground for the survival of every marriage is forgiveness. Now somebody will be like, oh, he's always saying sorry, he's always saying apology. And let me say it on both sides. Now, for the person that is always saying sorry, maybe you need to also reconsider your action and see. So one of the benefits of the book that we read together, this Marriage and Divorce, was he said that everything must be seen from the lenses of love. Everything that we do must be seen from how is it rubbing off on our partner. So it can't be a selfish thing. So you can't deliberately be offending somebody and expect the person to say, and expect that when I say sorry and it's okay. That is not godly in itself. It is not scriptural. It is not saying things from the lenses of love. But at the same time, from the other side, from the other person that they are saying sorry to, one thing that you should also realize is that the reason why people offend us very easily is because of our expectations. We believe that this person should be here, and then they keep falling short. So maybe you need to manage expectation in order to not to, for example, let me give a case in point. So my wife grew up in a place where, in a family where they do a lot of ceremonies. They like big parties. But people that are very close to me knows that
You don't even do parties.
I wish I don't do party. You get what I'm saying? So I'm cool. I can be upstairs and not come downstairs for a whole week and just be fine. And I will not feel like I'm missing anything downstairs. Just give me my iPad, at least I have a TV upstairs, and I'll be cool. My studies there. However, I also realize that when you like ceremonies or parties, you also like people in your house. It comes with the terrain, is that not so? Because every day should sound like a party. You get what I'm saying? So I had to ask myself that, do you think you can ever change this? Now, men, let me say this to us. There are battles you don't need to fight. Yeah. You choose the battles you fight. At least when you want to fight, you should fight to win. You shouldn't fight because you wanted to just fight. So when you understand where your spouse is coming from, then it will
Sorry,
help
PD,
you.
I was asked what's wrong with the party.
Sorry?
I was just asked what is wrong with the party.
Well, There is nothing wrong with the party. From the other side's party. I mean, from the part of the other side. But for me, I'm like, can we end this quickly? I mean, I can't wait to leave. I'm done. When I'm a pastor, when I do weddings, I don't go for receptions. I'm sorry. So that I won't offend the ancestors here. I might come for your reception, but I really don't want to go for reception. The noise. I feel like they are polluting my spirit, man. My spirit needs to be fresh. And all of that. So the bottom line is this. The bottom line is we should understand where everybody is coming from. It will help us accept the apology with much ease. And then for the person who is giving the apology also, I read somewhere that when you give an apology with explanation, you just nullify the apology. When you give an apology because you are and then you are now trying to excuse it or say something to say, when you want to say I'm sorry, say I'm sorry. I apologize. Don't say I'm sorry. The reason why I went that route, you just cancelled I'm sorry. You get what I'm saying? So I think that will help somebody.
Please, you want to clap for that? Please, you can.
Just a rejoinder to the I'm sorry. So the other thing that we learned and we started adding to the I'm sorry is to make a request for forgiveness. So I'm sorry, please forgive me.
Yeah.
And it is not your job to forgive yourself. It is the job of the person you asked to forgive you. And that's just a small...
and then, for the men, don't be offended when the same situation is revisited. Amen. Because I know that's another problem. They say, I thought I apologized. I thought you forgave me. Why are you referring to it? It's just a reference. Amen. Don't be angry.
So you mean it's a copy and paste?
No, it's just because somebody says that there's a writer of a book. I can't remember the name of the guy. He said men are like waffles, while women are like spaghetti. So what that means is that everything in a woman is connected. So if you do something that relates with what you did before, you know how you use wire to touch wire, everything just connects and like, oh, you see, that's what you did the other time. It's not like she has not forgiven you. It's just a reference. Amen. The fact that you make reference to somebody in a book does not mean the person is the author.
Can we put hands together for that?
Thank you.
Okay. I feel like something PD said got to me, and I don't know if other singles in the house feel like that. I feel like he said something about maybe expectations. Sometimes some people are the one that creates that expectation. Like, you don't just wake up and imagine somebody is this. It must be from actions. And talking from singles, I feel like a lot of people, when you want to get married, okay, maybe because I'm a lady, guys, don't be angry. I'm talking for ladies. So I think when a guy wants to get married to a lady, he probably creates a paradise that probably doesn't exist. There are some very real people, but it's better you just, okay, I know some things that, like, okay, let me give an example. A friend of mine even told me, a guy told me that, now you are single, enjoy very well. Because you see, when you marry, all those things, he will not do it for you again. And that is the, you know, some guys now, you're coming, you're going for dinner, he's opening the door, he's pulling the chair. There's some people that wouldn't do all those things. You're already okay with it. You know, I had a friend, she was dating an Ondo guy. He said he's not interested in doing proposal and ring. I love you, I'll marry you, I'll go and meet your parents. She knows her husband is not romantic. Like, she would say R that is inside romantic. Akin does not have it, the R. And she's okay with it, and she went on with the marriage. But imagine somebody who is sending you notes every morning. Before you wake up, the notes is there, everything. Then you not just get married. The person says, we are not married though. You know, and everybody are different. You know, there are some people that thing is what attracted them to the marriage. You are not removing the attraction. So I feel like sometimes the expectations are actually what the other party pitched. And that in law, they'll say offer and acceptance. You offered me this. I like it and I accepted it. Then you now remove the consideration. Oh, I'm going, no, I don't understand. It will be boring.
My lord, my lord.
My lord.
I put it to you.
I will not take it
put
from
it
you,
to
sir.
you that in a battle, when you conquer, you don't play with the prey anymore. Is that not so, PD?
I think
We are not praised.
No.
We are not.
But seriously, my thoughts, and okay, I agree with you a lot. I think there's a lot of learning and unlearning that we need to do. I've seen men, married men, that are absolutely excellent. We're continuing to do the things that they used to do and even much more. So we just really need to get to the place of understanding who it is. We probably also need to drop the things that we watched in movies and books because it really doesn't apply to real life. When life happens to you, it happens to you. It just happens sometimes. So and I think it's both ways. I've seen men that says, my wife used to cook for me, is no longer cooking for me. So what's going on? So pretty much, I think both ways we need to learn and put in grace for one another so that when the person is not doing as much and also communicate it. So for us, something happened yesterday. I think we're going to come to the island and we were watching a movie together. And at that point, the children called. And so Zubi was on the phone at some point. So I stood up and I went into the kitchen. And when I went into the kitchen, my expectation was that he will wait for me. Because we were watching the movie together. And as I was in the kitchen, I was hearing that he was already watching the movie. My spirit was boiling. I was like, should I just go out and go and rake? Or should I just keep quiet and not talk about it and give him the silent treatment?
He will rewind.
And all of that. But when I came out, I decided to talk about it. I said, now what for you? You don't even wait for me. You just continue to say, sorry, I thought you were watching. Don't worry. Let me rewind. I said, don't rewind. Because at that point, I also knew that if we continue watching this movie, we'll be late for what we're coming to the island to do. So I went upstairs to go and get ready. And he packed himself. He cuckoo slept off watching the movie. But communicating it and talking about it at that point just really ends whatever could have become a reason to. And then he came upstairs and said, sorry now, somebody cannot play with you. You should just have come so that we'll finish watching it. So you have those conversations. You extend grace to the other person and you move on. And define your own romance. So the fact that somebody else is opening door for another person.
Maybe the door is bad.
Yes.
That's why it's
Define your romance. What is romance for me is different from, I don't want him to open door and not be kind in the way he's speaking to me. That's my definition of romance. So don't open door for me, just be kind. Is enough. But for some other persons, open door, buy me things. So define what your own romance is and stay in your own place. Don't compare. That grass that is greener on the other side is because somebody is tending it. That's why it looks really good.
Thank you very much. Now, there's some questions from the audience that I would like to take at this moment. Somebody says this, and it's very interesting. He says, I'm getting older, but it seems every woman I meet is not good enough. What do I do? There's another question that is similar to that. Hold up. There's another question that is similar to that. I have a man that has potential, and you know it's just the one for you. But your family expectations for your future man are high. But the man is not financially okay yet. What do I do? Do you understand the two questions? I think they are both similar. We can just take them together. Pastor Zubi, since you are laughing.
Everybody's looking at me. Okay. I probably start from the second one. Person that says the guy is not financially okay yet. I like the word yet because that's the acting.
But also put into context that the pressure is actually from the family's perspective.
Yes. So I'm getting there. So I think at some point you've got to realize, and I speak to the singles, it's not your family that is getting married. You are the one getting married. You are the one to live in the marriage. And it is you nobody can make that judgment or assessment for you on, as long as you're not living in fantasy and then trying to deceive yourself. If it's a hard-working man and you believe that he has potential, there is no perfect extended family. I want my daughter to marry the son of Dangote. Not as long as he's a Christian. That would be my expectation. Every parent, every family wants the best for their kids, and for some reasons they don't want somebody to come back and the fear of every parent is let me not be the one funding your life. But you've got to understand the place of contentment and what works for you, and understand that you, not your father, not your mother, no matter what the pressure is, that will live in that home. So as long as you understand that when you get married, it is you and your spouse, and you guys grind it out together, fight it out together, and it will be okay. And ultimately, when it's okay, everybody, all those that give you pressure, will say, oh, thank God, thank God. They will come back to say thank God. But you've got to be ready to work it out. The first question says, I am getting older, and I'm not seeing the one that fits. So what I found is that sometimes a lot of us know what we don't want, but we find it difficult to define what exactly we want. So the point is, you've got to be able to come to a point where what is your fear? Why are you afraid? You've got to address that fear. If you had money, is your fear that they will carry your money? How much is that money you even have that they will carry? So what is your fear? And then address your fear. Some of these questions we might not be able to answer it all here. Might need to have another conversation to understand the basis of it. But you need to address the reason why you are afraid. Is it a past experience? Maybe you had somebody that did you in the past, and you've carried that baggage into your future, or is it an influence from what you have heard? This situation, maybe you've seen stories or something, or your definition of what a wife should be.
And I also think that the picture the person has in mind, that person is already married.
Yes.
So many singles want to marry a married woman. Somebody say, I want to marry a woman like Pastor Kwe. Pastor Kwe is married. Can you make your own Pastor Kwe? Somebody say, Pastor Crystal, man, do you see her? Do you see how she behaves? Do you see herself and her husband? She is what? Married.
And the reality is that you may not have even liked Pastor Kwe or Pastor Crystal when they were single.
Yes.
Yeah.
They probably are not good enough for you also. Yeah.
So I'd say to this person, I don't know how old you are, but the field is wide.
Go and walk.
The field is
Walk
wide
on the woman that. Honestly, it's many people don't want to walk. I think so. They just want a finished product.
Yes.
Amen. Now, God, the way you gave Adam Eve, what that is.
I think also for me, they are defining values that you should not compromise.
Yes,
so
sir.
once those values are in place, there are things that then you can work on. So you cannot say, for instance, you want to work on something that is not sitting on the base of the value that you have defined for yourself. And really for us, when you think about it, you want to marry somebody that fears God. Not necessarily someone that you really love. You can love someone that you love crazily, but does not fear God. And the fear of God is not coming to church. So that we don't say, this person comes to church. But you want to define that those values are in place, and then you follow through on that, then you can work on the person, because then the person can be able to forgive. Then the person can love easily because they fear God. So I think that's also very important.
Yeah. Understand that it's a human being you're dealing with, not a robot. So as long as it's a human being, you have to communicate. You have to give and take. Give. both sides are always giving, but there has to be that exchange of communication and open-hearted communication to be able to address whatsoever it is. And I would usually say, address it, whatever it is, start from before. Like Okpe talked about expectations and offer that consideration was now taken away afterwards. So, and I saw some young men raising their hands when my wife talked about it is not movie. Obviously, it's not movie, it is life, you know. And because it's life, God has given each and every one of us the ability to adapt. And your husband used to open door and carry you into the car before you got married. Now you have twins inside your belly. You want him to carry you with the twins?
So that I can't carry you again.
And also, can I say that my brother that is looking for the perfect wife, I hope you are grooming and building yourself to be the perfect husband.
Hallelujah. Thank you very much. Because of our time, and I have quite a lot of questions from the audience here.
Sharp, sharp.
There's one here that says, my greatest fear as a man is to invest time and effort on a lady, and she leaves. It's really annoying. So dating is a no-go area for now. What is your advice? But there's another question that is similar to that, and which I think will address
think we
that.
quickly solve that one.
No,
Don't go there.
No,
Don't bother.
no. Why I
Until you
said
are
so is
resolved.
this question says, how should the church address dating, purity, and companionship? Promote biblical values in dating, discourage sexual dating, emphasize reflections and godly guidance. What are your opinions? Dating.
Yeah, I think for me, just be friends with people. Because if I'm your friend, I already can see the things that, and this person that is thinking, oh, I've invested and invested and invested. People really show their behaviors when they are with their friends. Oh. You don't pretend with your friend. My friends know me. Sometimes when I say something, say, even you. So they will see the traits. So I think the first thing is be friends with people that you want to get married with. Honestly, to a very large extent, me, I know what Zubi can do. In fact, we know here. Yesterday, he said something, and we said, Omoibo. We know that when he gets, he will not compromise some things. So his friends know. So it's important that you are friends with people. And as you start that friendship, you will know whether this person that claims that they really love God do not. You will know whether the person is going to tell you a no when it comes to marriage. And the person is not going to say yes. So you don't waste your time trying to cultivate. Then secondly, the truth honestly is if you care about somebody and you are meeting behind closed doors, there's a tendency that you are going to have anything sexual. So if you care about somebody so much as possible, ensure that you are having, open meetings. Meet in open places where people are going to see you. Even if you want to touch yourselves, you'll not be able to. So if you follow those guiding principles, it will really help you, because it's impossible for Zubi and I now to be behind closed doors and I will not want to touch. So when you care about somebody and you are a grown person, there are things called hormones. And those hormones react. When you see a fine girl, even as a man, and she just passes like this, you will take a second look. So if you agree with yourself that those are the natural things that happen, natural, it's not necessarily just because you really like the person, then you are going to, there's a tendency that you want to touch. And so when you help yourself to stay where people can see you under the lights, it will help you. I tell my children, anything that you're doing on that phone, that immediately that somebody comes in, you quickly drop the phone. Something is wrong about it. And so it's your conscience really helping you to make those decisions. So you like that person so much, make it very open. Go out with friends. Have those conversations that are important. Usually when people are dating themselves, you'll be talking about, and I really love you. That's not the kind of thing that used to happen in marriage. Oh. In marriage, people start talking money. You start talking, we want to relocate, we don't want to relocate. Then you now start having problems and say, but you told me that we are going to stay here. Now you want to relocate because you are not spending your dating period to have the kind of conversations that are real. I hope now, if you don't have the conversations today, when you get into the marriage, then you would think that the man or the woman has a problem. But you saw it coming. You know that she has a temper. You know that she has a tendency to, want to further her education. Then all of a sudden you say, I want housewife. It's not going to work. So it's important you start having the conversations. Not particularly that you're staying together and reading the Bible. Because some of us, you say, hey, let's sit down and read. As you are having the conversations and praying together, be having the real conversations. How do we want to deal with family if the children don't come on time? How do we want to deal with the family? If your husband or your wife loses their job, how do you want to deal with the family when you have a child and the child has a disability? So when you are having those conversations, when you get into the real business, you'll be able to stay together. 10 years, 20 years, no kids yet, and you are able to cope.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I'd like to say to the person that says you've invested and invested, it's not a return on investment. It's not a business. So I'm sorry. So what you the attitude, that attitude is already wrong.
That's why I said don't go ahead.
The attitude is already wrong.
Yeah.
That you invest, and then they up and go. Maybe you are part of the people that Paul said God designed you not to marry. But if you're gonna get married, your wife is not a business investment. Your wife is your wife. And so you've got to be able to. And when we say about the investment, it's about an emotional investment. It's a spiritual investment. It's an all-round investment. So if you're looking at it in this, your investment is what? Money. Money does not make a human being. Money does not make, a relationship last. What works it is your heart. What works it is how much you are interested in this other person's progress. And not being afraid of somebody's progress or where they're going. And, my wife was talking about what you don't discuss about now. And what are your conversations? What are you talking about? How are you presenting yourself? Are you presenting yourself as Lord and Master to this lady? And
Maybe
I am
like
your all in all.
Sabinus the investor.
Yeah. So you don't want to have, that kind of mindset, because the issues, trust me, in marriage, for those of you out, are way more interesting. In fact, let me give you backstage gist. See this man sitting here. It is by permission that he's sitting here. It was a collective request made to his dear wife, who is part of us here, that he's sitting here.
Please appreciate my wife for allowing me to be here.
And that is marriage for you, because you've got to take the position of the other person in view per time. It's not just about you. So investment. Okay? If you are looking for a business, look for a business. Stay out of marriage.
Thank you very much. Stop where?
Okay, so I have a question here. I'm tired of my marriage. Can I walk away? So whoever wrote this, first of all, we feel your pain. Then I have another question.
You don't feel our pain.
How do you feel something that you don't?
No, sir, I feel like from the way the person said it, it's just emotional, like, I'm tired of my marriage. So for you to get to that point, I am feeling like what the person might have gone through, like what the person is passing through. And there's another question here on domestic violence, like what is the take of the church? So what I want our panelists to address is, I think the questions are kind of linked, because when it comes to domestic violence, I think at that point, I'm not a pastor, but I just think at that point, I don't think there's anything in a marriage, because you'd rather be alive than die. Because when you say, and violence is in different, like some are just, some people when they talk about violence, some people just think until the person maybe hits something on your head, slaps you, batters you. But actually, it's not just about physical touch. Some people are sexually, no, not sexually, some people are harassed by words. You know, some people say things to people that make them depressed. Some people say things to people that have made a lot of people commit suicide. And I'm saying this based on things I've seen. Even if you go to courts today, the rate of divorce is very high. And when some people talk, it's not just about their husbands beating them, but the way some husbands treat them. And that when it comes to money, there's a question here also on saying ladies are after money and all. I feel like there's a perception that when somebody knows that, okay, this is your core, and this is what you are all about, like Pastor Crystal mentioned when she was explaining, that romance is different to different people. The person might say, oh, you are just after the money. You can have a blank check and have everything, and I behave the way I want to behave. I treat you like you don't even exist. All I know is I'm going for a trip for 3 months. You have a blank check, feel whatever you want. It's all about the money. And those things have made some people like they are just living dead, like they are treating them like robots, which they are not. So I want a panelist to say, at what point can you say, okay, this is actually the height of violence? Because I feel like church is always encouraging be in your husband's house. Mm-hmm. And for Yoruba people or African mentality, you know, a woman, you don't leave your husband. Our mothers of those days, if they were not that patient, do you know what my eyes saw in my husband's house? And I'm still there. You guys, this Gen Z, you don't have one self-patience. You know all these things. And people are going through a lot, and they just want to remain there to keep the security of their family, the family name, pedigree, and all. And we just hear the person is dead.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I think the person that is tired of their marriage, I can't imagine how and what you're going through. I honestly can't imagine what it feels like. And genuinely empathize with you. However, I think your solution is you need counsel. And in going through counseling, you'll probably be able to resolve some of the issues, or the things will get fixed. Just establishing, because when it comes to marriage, it's not just one person, it's two people that are involved, and genuinely, whatever those issues are, we've talked about forgiveness here, we've talked about communication, it's a lot of work. And if you're willing to put in the work, it can be resolved. And so I'm sure that sometimes we are tired of our work. Sometimes we are tired of being in a particular family. Sometimes you're tired of so many things. You don't work out on all those things. So the first thing will be to seek counsel. And depending on what it is, you will have a solution. I think I'll leave the one of what's the church take to Pastor Dari on sexual and gender-based violence. But one of the things that I want to establish is not just women that go through violence.
Thank you.
Men also go through it. It can be emotional, it can be verbal, it can be physical, and whatever it is. And so when we establish that first, Pastor Dari will say, but my take is that first again, you begin to seek counsel. Because when you were dating and courting, you already saw that that guy can be very aggressive. You are seeing it now. You are telling yourself that he's giving you money, or he's a loving guy. He will come and pet me later. But you are making those decisions. Then you finally tie the knots. Then you now say he slapped me.
He slapped you and gave you 100,000 before you got
pretty
married.
much,
It's palliative.
it's what you start seeing when you people are dating. When you are just ordinary friends. And that's why I talk about being friends a lot. Because you will see, this kind of thing, I cannot take it to. There are things that I see for some of my friends. Like Zubi, even you know that this person cannot try it with me. The moment you raise it, I stop it. So, or somebody is being unfriendly. And for me, when you are kind to me, you are romantic. But some of us, money is definition of romance. Some of us is you kneel down and serve me the food. And you be like, this woman is very respectful. That's the kind of person I want to marry. So it's important. Some of these things, you start seeing it. You can already feel it. And I think that it's important. But also, in all of these things, let's understand our love languages. And of the other person. Don't speak your love language to me. Mm-hmm. So, acts of service and whatever, is not the same as physical touch. So give to the person the love language that is their own love language and not what you think that the love language should be. So I can talk to you anyhow or I can beat you, but my love language is I take care of my wife. So I give you, like Zubi said, I drop 100,000. There's a bag of money somewhere. And then you make up your face and just be like, what happened? I fell down. So it's critical that we start addressing these kind of things. Pastor Dari.
Okay, so I am not going to give a verdict here, but I will speak as a pastor with a few bit of experience, and I'll also draw from the experiences of my pastor. And so now, they talk about the fact that divorce rates have gone very high. Then they now talk about mental health. They talk about mental abuse, different from physical abuse, and all of that. And the question I'm asking is, at what point are we going to define it that way? Let me say it this way. If we keep pushing the goalpost, when are we going to stop pushing it? Mm-hmm. If we say that, any form of abuse is a reason to walk out of your marriage. So who defines the abuse? Is it the person who can talk the most to the pastor, or the pastor is the one that defines, this is real abuse? Like Pastor Crystal mentioned, that the abuse is not just, most of the time when we talk about abuse, we are talking about it from the perspective of the men being the abuser. But we are not talking about a lot of women who has successfully demasculinized, I don't know, who has removed masculinity.
Emasculation, that's what it's.
They did not castrate the men, but they have removed what makes them a man with their mouth. Nobody, when you say, okay, when the woman just says a side comment like, the meaning of that in Yoruba is that what your mates are doing? You don't know that you just killed something in that man. I've spoken with a woman who told me that I told my husband to go and make money before making advances to me. I said, you said that to a man. So when we discuss these things, things seems to be screwed against the men. That it's the men that abuse, because the men seems to be the ones that has the better muscle, or they are stronger or something. But at the end of the day, when it is this mental abuse that is very interesting to me. In every marriage, most men knows that they are not as good with words as their wives. That's the reality. Most men know. So if we are talking about somebody that is verbally abusing somebody, we need to be very careful. Like I said I'm not pronouncing judgment on anything. I'm just saying to us that we should be careful how we create room for people to walk out of their marriage, because some people just put it on the fact that it's verbal abuse because they feel like the guy is not tripping me anymore. The guy is not romantic anymore. The guy is not as built as Brother Kunle is built.
With my one bag.
Or the guy has a physical problem that is, I don't want to deal with this physical problem and all of that. So people now say, he's verbally abusing me, or he's abusing me. We must be very, very careful. Number one, the paradox of Jesus and Paul, where Jesus said, from the beginning it was not so. that you should leave your spouse, except for adultery. And then Paul will come and say that if the unbeliever wants to depart, the believer is not under any bondage in that case. Now, but one of the things you have to see in that letter of Paul is the lenses from which he was speaking. He was speaking from the love lens, that let love guide you. How will the action that I'm taking impact on my partner? So now, I say this to people. I say this. If you tell me that you are tired of your marriage, the first question I ask you is there adultery or unrepentant adultery? I must say no. If you say no, I said the second thing, which of course it's not there in the Bible, but it does not communicate love, is, are you physically abused? Is it battering you? Is there a risk to life? When it is a physical abuse, when there is a risk to life, then I can tell you, in fact, I will tell the church to rent a house for you. And we'll help you pack and stay away for now till we have a conversation again.
I will cast out the demon, one way or the other.
The problem is some of those demons started from when some people were growing up. They were wrongly taught on what a woman looks like. Some men need to get a different model, because most fathers don't live long enough to train their children, or some of them are not even available to be a part of their children's life. So I'll say the church take is this: if there is domestic violence, we can ask you to excuse yourself.
Battery, domestic violence.
I mean battery, physical
battery.
one. But you see, if it is still a matter of what is said to one another, seek help. Seek help, honestly. Because if we stay on the point that you said this, I said that, and then you are mentally abusing me and all of that, we will just, everybody, once they feel tired with their relationship like this, they want to jump to another one. The reality is, the person you want to jump at, you don't even have an idea of what it looks like to live with them. That's the truth. So some people now, let me tell you what's going on in some people's mind. When I leave this marriage, at least by the time I get married to the next one, I would have known how to do it better. I won't marry somebody that looks like my previous marriage. Biggest lie the devil ever told you. 60% of second marriages still ends up in divorce. 90% of third marriages ends up in divorce. Which means that it doesn't get better with the exchange. If you seek counsel, let them guide. You can be a professional counselor, not the one that is struggling with their marriage anyway. But seek counsel and let's stand in this thing. God does not, from the beginning it was not so that we should be changing husbands or wife like clothes, like we are going to a closet. I hope I've been able to say something for the church.
Thank you very much. Before we take the next question, I'd just like to crave your indulgence. We are not done here with Family Sunday. There are gifts to be won. There are games to be played. So sit back. Just know today is real time to have fun. We are almost rounding up, but there's this very important question that you need to take.
So, this question says, what can I do when sex becomes an issue in marriage? Like my wife doesn't really care about it and doesn't mind going on weeks and months without sex. Now die, I do.
Okay, this one is kind of, again, like when we started, some of the questions here, we will not be able to do justice to sitting up here. So, this person, you might need to seek attention of, any of the 4 persons sitting on this stage, and then we can start working it out. But typically, when those things happen, the questions we ask are, what are the underlying issues? What are the underlying issues? Is there a health reason? Is there a psychological reason? Is there, what is it that is causing it? Is there a physiological reason to it? So,
or is it the way you do what you do? That's the problem.
so that's why I said, because
Now, we are not talking to singles, we are talking to...
So, yeah. So for singles, there's something we did not say to you about the advantages and disadvantages. So the disadvantage of being single is that you cannot have guiltless sex. Okay? Because some singles, you guys are having sex. We know it. Don't think we're unaware here. We know.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing it. We know.
Without license.
We know. It's just that when you finish, you are not now happy. So there's no freedom in you. Now somebody start going to, you start checking, go and buy a kit in the pharmacy the next minute to check if it has happened.
Swallowing pills.
Your heart is beating fast, boom, 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 boom. In marriage, nobody is going to buy a kit the next moment. If it is the gift of God, Otiwole. Otilo. So we don't bother, Mostly we don't bother in marriage. So that's so. Anyway, back to the conversation we're having about the person saying, "Nadai I day." This one, we feel you.
In fact, let's chorus it together.
We feel you. As in, it's
Why does it feel like it's the men saying that the women are not?
It might be a lady that sent the question after all.
No.
It's a lady that
said. That's why I said.
No.
It's a man that sent it.
It's a man
my
because
wife.
the man
my
is my wife.
So that's why
That's why we are feeling the man.
We feel you.
It might be in severe pains.
Yes. So we can't honestly sit here and tell you what to do. If you are thinking we will tell you to go and try elsewhere, lie, it won't happen. Not from here. What we want to get to is, what is the problem? Is there a remedy? It's either physical, physiological, mental. What is it? There's an underlying issue. So let's deal with the root issue and then see how, things progress after now.
But also, if you want to have sex with your spouse, make sure that it's not boring. Make sure that also, because men want women to have their baths
Why is
all
a
of
single
the time.
person
Are you
clapping?
single or married?
You want your wife.
Oh,
to
okay.
have,
It is Brother Dipo. Oh, yes, Brother Dipo. You are
you want your
permitted.
wife to have their bath. You want your wife to smell good. Please, also men, try and smell good. Make an effort. Let men make an effort. Also, women, when we get pregnant and we have children, what also happens is that, your commitments and everything start to wane. And so also, let's make a deliberate effort to work at it. And both ways, really talking about it, what works for you and what makes it work. If Zubi travels for 3 months now and he comes back,
Lord
it's
have mercy.
important that he serves a meal that has to be taken. So you cannot tell me that you came back and you have gotten tired. So pretty much, I think it's a two-way thing. As you look at what the trauma is, you meet with Brother Zubi and Pastor Dare to tell you as a man. But from the women, make an effort, smell good, look good. Let me be attracted to you also. Don't think that because you are just my husband, you call for it and I just say yes. Make an effort to want the woman to want you also. I think that's very critical.
Yeah, before we go to please celebrate the Pastor Crystal. I want to say 4 things. This is for the purpose of the singles. I want to say 4 things that you must discuss before you get married. Number 1, religion. I got it from Kenneth He again. Religion includes your perspective to scriptural truths. Discuss if I become a pastor tomorrow, I hope you are not going to say to me that I didn't marry a pastor. All of those things, you need to discuss them. You see somebody is a Sunday school teacher in church. You say, you are not a pastor when I got married to you. So you have to discuss things that has to do with religion. So it's not just Christian, Muslim. It's our paradigm in the Christian faith in itself. Do you believe in speaking in tongues, Holy Communion? What's your opinion about tithing? We have to be aligned. Then the second thing is sex. Sex. You have to discuss sex. Yeah. Before you get married, you have to discuss it. Don't have it. I'm not saying discuss positions. Amen. The third thing that that we must discuss is finances. How do we want to manage our finances? The reality is it's a big issue in many marriages. And you need to be sure, okay, who is stronger with respect to finance management? It doesn't have to be the man that is managing it. The woman can be better at managing the finances. You guys are in a covenant. If my wife has money and I don't have money, I have money. Yeah, I have money. So some men, please bury your ego of, I am the man here. I can't. We are in covenant. Amen. But how we are going to manage it, it's not like, okay, my wife now has money, I now take the money, I use it for Bet Nigeria, or I use it to do something that No. We have to discuss finances. And the fourth one, children. But Pastor Krista touched on that. But it's something that we must discuss. How many children do we want? And if you don't have it on time, do you want a dozen? Do you want to repay cheaper by the dozen or whatever? How do we want to raise our children? Do we want to adopt more children? Do we want to do this one? All of those factors. And you see, by the time you are discussing these four things, sex will be the last thing in your mind. Yeah.
Amen.
Amen.
So the last phase of this question and answer, it has to do with finance. And I think I have just 3 questions here that point at finance. So I'll just take the 3 together so that we can wrap up quickly. The first one says, my impulsive girlfriend's character on our relationship finances troubles me. How can I manage this while keeping our bond and aiming for a harmonious future? So his girlfriend is concerned about finances. The other one says...
is it the girl asking or the young man asking?
The young man. He said, my impulsive girlfriend's character with regards to finances troubles him. So he's scared of the future.
Let me understand. The girlfriend's
Yes.
Yes. Then the second one, most modern ladies, not all, are after money. Why is this so? All the ladies I've dated so far are after a rich guy. Then the last one, regarding finances. This is very funny. Who made this law? My money is our money, and our money is our money. And it is not to be is this not to be considered unfair? Because of this, some men have died. Lol. Laughing out loud.
All right, let me start with the latter part. I don't know who made that law, but that law is from the pit of hell. Because my money is our money, your money or our money is our money. Marriage is a covenant relationship. What belongs to him belongs to me. What belongs to me belongs to him. Yes, we know that there are awesome men and awesome women, because there is an impulsive girlfriend that is impulsive and can just decide that, oh my goodness, this bag is so beautiful, give me your card. Let me just swipe. Or just sees another friend driving a car and decide that, oh, my boyfriend can afford this car after all. I need this car. You know, and we have men that can decide, like PD said, to just go into their account and decide to go and buy something for himself. We have someone was talking to me and was talking about, they're not here, they are out of the country, was talking about how presently she's the one making most money and all, and her credit is very good. And then the husband decided that, for my birthday, I need a new car, and decided to go use her name and got a car on credit, you know. And the man of God is not actually bringing in. And she was like, well, I didn't fight. I just decided I need a new car too. That no problem. At least I would just tell myself that we both of us bought new cars to celebrate my husband's birthday. So she went to get, well, over there, you know, it's a lot of credit thing. So she too went to get another car. So she was saying, did I do wrong? And I was like, okay. From what perspective did you think you should get yourself a car? I said, because I don't want to fight. Because the more I look at him with the car, I will start to fight. But now my question is, what if he had gone to do Bet Naija, like Pastor said now? Would you go and do Bet Naija? So really, when it comes to finances, I think, like Pastor said, one of the key things we should talk about is how do we want to manage our money, really? How do we want to manage our money? Do we want to have a joint account? Do we want to have yours and yours? It's worked for us over 15 years now. It's worked for us. We have our personal accounts, and then we have our joint accounts. I don't touch his personal account. He doesn't touch my personal account, but I can sign money out of his personal account, and he can sign money out of my personal account. But that doesn't mean it doesn't say...
And I have a password. She has my password.
It doesn't say, why are you spending money from your account? He can ask me, and I can... That doesn't mean I don't say, babes, I use this money for da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And he goes, I use this money for... I need to use... Sometimes I've used before I say, and sometimes I take permission before I use. But like I said, it's basically because we understand that we are in a covenant and we trust one another to do the right thing with money. So when it comes to who owns what, our money, she money, my husband usually tells me that I have she money, and it's true. Every woman here, please learn to have a she money. She money is very good. It saves the family. Okay? Have a she money somewhere. Have some account that there's always a she money. Like, you know what I mean by she money? Ladies, yeah, you have some money that is kept somewhere that even you yourself don't go there. There is nothing that will make you go there. Or I said maybe when there is now a dear need for the home or something, you can always, it's a fallback. It's a fallback. It may be huge, it may just be something little. Honestly, she money can be as little as 1,000 naira and can be as much as 1 billion naira. Amen. Now, all women, most ladies now are looking for money after. And I had a side comment the moment you said that. The lady said, they should go and work more now. Everybody wants someone that will take care of them. Male and female. Trust me. We have people that are extra, but everyone wants someone that will work, that will take care of them. And when you want to go into a relationship to become a liability in that relationship, you should check your thinking. Something is wrong with you. Go into a relationship being an asset. What can I bring? What can I add to your life as a woman? What am I adding to his life as a man? What am I adding to our life? Now, definition of she likes money can differ. The man might just think like, just because he said, you've not even gotten me any gifts before. She likes money. And it could be that after all the gifts, she has a very huge expectation that you should spend a lot of money on me. It is here in Nigeria, well, let me say Nigeria because I don't know other African countries, that you go on dates and you expect the guy to pay. Well, in the Western world, we watch movies and I've been there. When we say, oh, remember when we say, oh, let's go for lunch after service, let's go for lunch. And we all thought maybe it was the person that invited us for lunch. Alas, we finished it and everybody was removing their card. What did I eat? You pay for what you ate. So over there, when you are dating, well, you either share the bill, or I say I'm treating you to this. So if it's about, oh, he's looking for money, maybe you're not looking at the right person sometime. Because really, a woman of purpose, a lady that's sufficiently and confidently single, will not wait on any man to spoil. You yourself will try to, it becomes a competition. I spoil you, you spoil me. Do you understand? So that's what we should try to. And sometimes maybe, still in school and the man is working. Honestly, you need someone that is contented and can just appreciate every little that you give. So maybe you are looking at the wrong set of women. Let's look at your circle. Mm-hmm. So if all that you have there, most people that you have in that circle are always looking for money, there might be a reason to get a new circle of friends of who you are. It might be that the people you and your friends attract. So maybe you need to.
I actually wonder: is this a married person that asked
No,
this
it's
question?
a single.
It's a single.
It's
So
a
because
single man.
if you're a single person and you're asking these questions, I already struggle with a single person asking these questions because you're making generalizations, that are unhealthy, even for you. Those things stunt you. Those things limit you from making decisions. So there are flags we see early. Somebody says, my girlfriend is...
Yeah, so that's what I'm going.
Exactly.
That's a flag.
That's already
you
a flag.
You can be sure that your girlfriend will definitely...
So sometimes... Yeah, so the question you ask yourself is, where are you going with this relationship from get-go? There is no... That's why we say before you get married. Because once you get in there, you have gotten in there. So before you get in there, it's early. There is no rule that says you should keep on with that kind of girlfriend. It's already giving you discomfort. Her spending habit is giving you ulcers. Why are you still inside?
Okay, sir.
But there might be a need to talk about it, really.
Absolutely.
There might be a need. The lady might just be someone that she's just...
It depends sometimes on how she grew up.
She's just sanguine.
Another thing is, now, when you grew up in affluence and the other person grew up in
poverty,
in little beginning.
At the day.
So he knows how he walked his way. You see, before he started having millions, he knew that he had suffered, and he does not want to go back to suffering. But this lady, for example, the family where she grew up from, they are wealthy. You get what I'm saying? They have money. So her father gives her money. She has money in her account. So she's used to that habit of spending. So that's why you should dig further. So it might not necessarily always be a flag, but you should find out where she's coming from and see whether it is stable. But listen, if you can't cope with it for life, don't go on. Because she might not change.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I was also going to say, don't marry who you can't trust. If you don't trust someone, if you are questioning a lot of things, there's no point. Irrespective of the way the person loves you, cares about you, don't marry. Because you will question everything, and trust is a bedrock, or is the bedrock for any marriage. So whether it's financial trust, whether it's emotional, your boyfriend cannot pass and smile at other women. They are hugging, your knees are touching, and you're beginning to have problems with it. It's critical that you look at those things. If you cannot trust that person, honestly, please don't get married to the person.
Okay.
Then on being impulsive, some of us are impulsive. I am impulsive. And so it's important to...
My wife.
My husband.
I am just learning that from you.
You know.
So you have been impulsive all this while.
Been.
Wow. I celebrate you.
Because I remember when we just got married, I'll just wake up in the morning, I'll just say, Zubi, we need to have a party.
Oh, yes. Oh,
Zubi
yeah.
will say, I said, we just need to have a party. This house is too dry. What's going on? Let's invite friends over to come and eat. But also, it's critical that you understand yourself, you know your excesses, and you know how to manage it. And so, also being able to have a conversation about it. So, for instance, if I decide to bring everybody to the house and Zubi says, I'm not coming down, it's not going to be a reason to quarrel. Stay in your room. It's fine. Because he can be quiet like Pastor Dari. I don't understand how people sit in their room for 1 week and they cannot move out. I think it's a sin.
We don't understand why people cannot sit in their room.
Knowing yourself and being able to deal with it and knowing that, understanding that I'm the life of the party, it will not bring quarrel that he doesn't want to go. But at the same time, being able to live interdependently yet independent as the human being is very critical for a successful marriage.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. So my own question.
To my single ladies, please. I'm talking about my finances. Don't marry a man that is not responsible. Please. My wife knows what I'm talking about. Don't marry a man that, and there are simple indices, very easy. A lady walks up to me and said, I boarded the same taxi with my fiancé, and then he was expecting me to pay for the ride. I said, don't marry him. I said, if I am that person and I don't have money, I will not enter the same ride with you. I would rather leg it. Go to your father's house or go wherever you're going. Because it's the starting point where people now start having issues when they get married. Don't marry somebody who is not responsible.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so in regard to my question, that question that was asked, I feel like there's something I would like to have an answer to. About men saying ladies like money. And a scenario I'll put is 4 Point sells sandwiches, 4 Point sells salad, 4 Point sells buffet. I can't walk into 4 Points, get a buffet, and tell them I want to pay the money for sandwich. I'm sorry I sound like that, but I've spoken to a lot of my friends, and they'll see a girl. The girl is carrying a Louis Vuitton bag, Gucci slippers. That's the girl they go and ask out. The girl makes her hair in VI, 15,000 or 30K. Then they say, babe, I want to pay for you. And the girl says 30K. They say, why is it in 30K? Do you understand? It's just like walking into 4 Point and saying you want to get a buffet. I'm sorry to say it, but I believe that there's a girl every guy can maintain. And what I tell them is, don't go for what is beyond your power.
I stand.
If you can afford a Corolla, don't start pricing Lamborghini.
Let me finish. Let me finish my question. Let me finish my question.
What's the question?
So my question is, why do guys go for? Because I feel it's only when it's women that is a problem. If you're buying a shoe now, maybe a Nike shoe, you know how much a Nike shoe costs. If you know what you can afford is not a Nike shoe, you go for a smaller shoe. If you feel like you like a Nike shoe, then you pay for it. My problem is, why do you go for a lady you feel is so high class? You know her bills are high. Then when it comes up, I'm not against an high-class lady dating a guy that is lower than her. But I feel the guy should
just hold on. Let me just...
Sorry,
let me...
Alice, wait. Hey, praise the Lord.
Hallelujah.
Alice.
So, Pastor Dari, I think that...
I want you to talk, sir.
Yeah, I think that men should...
Okwe, you have not been married before, right? So you don't know what it takes to have a lasting marriage. At least not yet. So, let's hear from Pastor.
First, I want to say that there is no class of woman that a man cannot walk up to.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. So when we establish
I will say
that,
it. Yeah.
when we establish that as women, I think it will help us. And I'll tell you a quick story. When I got married to my husband, and I'm not saying that you should not have the man that you want to get married to. Sometimes you get married to that class that you have defined, and that class will beat blue and black out of you. As I'm looking into the hall, I'm seeing men that I knew 15 years ago, 10 years ago, and I've seen how they've grown. And that's why I think I agree with Pastor Dari. Don't want to marry Pastor Okwe, a woman that is like Pastor Okwe, or a man that is like Uncle Zubi. Because you don't know our history and where we're coming from. When I got married to my husband, I had a brand new car and so many things. I was working for Procter & Gamble. I was a regional manager. I was managing over 200 people. And I can keep telling you what it is. I still make fun of him till today. I said, that shirt I used to wear that you go to Aba, trouser material, they use it to sew shirts. At some point, I left Procter & Gamble because I wanted to pursue my passion. The first shocking thing that happened was, I remember there was one of my birthdays. That was the first time my husband gave me a birthday gift. That I always tell him, I say, you're not romantic. He planned it, and I had that birthday gift. I was a level 2 manager. I was driving a level 4 manager's car because my husband bought me the level 4 car manager. And I remember when I first drove it into the office, everybody was asking me, why are you driving the same car as Manoj? And so, because that was if I looked at the person that used the pants, and I said he was not on my level, so he couldn't speak to me, then we wouldn't have the kind of bliss. So you need to define, guys. At me and say, this person is beyond. When we go and eat now, this person will say that she wants to go and eat at Presidential. Then we were living in Enugu. Presidential was like the best hotel. Say, but today, you say, every time it's Crystal's birthday, they used to send her on vacation. It was not the same person, no. So if you are looking at him now, you look at the shoe he's wearing, you say, I want to wear that kind of shoe, or I want to get married. So please, let's first, as women, let's come home and ask ourselves, what kind of marriage do I want to have? If you want to be Lagos big girl and you just want to be high flyer, it's okay. And you will cope with all the things that come with it. So we are telling you about how we are able to communicate, how we are able to work on things. It's because together we grew up as friends and we're able to manage those things. So it's easy for me to say, Zubi, this, that. But there are some levels you cannot talk to, because to also maintain that level and have those conversations, the things that happen on that level, you are not able to. And so, also, let's stop living a lie.
Thank you.
It's not about the bags. It's not about the shoes. Peace does not come from the kind of we've on. And so, as you grow older, before, I used to wear 6 inches without issues. In the open market, I'll be running around, even with 6 inches. Now, my leg cannot carry it.
Old age.
Yeah. And so, when you begin to understand, I think that, so when we establish those things, you can have the conversation. And that's why we said, some people are not spendthrifts, but if you've been raised with money and the kind of things, therefore you can have that conversation. And I close on this note. I remember Sister Moki was sharing with us.
Poverty.
So when you see Sister Moki, you say that's this. But then she said that Femi will tell her, she didn't used to take buses. But when they are going out together, Femi will say, I don't understand, your mother has spoiled you. So I don't have money for cab. Can we enter bus together? She said the first time she entered bus, she was like, Omo, is it this kind of guy? But then we entered bus together for a very long period of time. Today, they are very comfortable. They are riding the kind of cars that they want to ride. They are walking in, and if you know Moki very well, she has come here to come and speak to us a lot of times. She's MD of Procter & Gamble. She's doing excellent things. But Femi is also thriving and doing the things that he wants to do. So please, I want to beg us as women. I'm not saying, and that's why marry somebody that is responsible, marry somebody you can have conversations with, marry somebody that is going somewhere to happen. But it's not a definition of whether you enter 4 points to eat or there is the kind of sandwich. See, everything is sandwich. I can make my own sandwich, and then it's better than the one at 4 points. So please, let's be mindful.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, I'd like to.
Just one thing I wanted to add to it.
Decorum in the house.
Wait, I'm
please.
coming to you. I'm coming to you, young
Wait,
men.
one thing I wanted to
We need to
say-
round up, please.
Yeah,
Thank
we
you.
have to wrap up now. One thing I want to say again is, where did we drop our value system? How did it become that what you define people with is what they put on? Because that thing they put on will expire. No matter the design, somewhere along the line, he's not going to put that thing on for 10 years. So we can't define the value of a lady or a guy by what they wear. It's what puts them on. It's their sense of identity that makes the difference. It's their self-esteem, how they see themselves. In fact, I give kudos to the guy who is not intimidated with somebody that seems to be high class. Yeah. Amen. Because the person, he might not be able to afford your shoe now. He might not be able to, but trust me, what he has inside him. So we should forget about those physical ephemerals as the basis for determining whether you are going to approach somebody or you are not going. And it's the reason why some people have remained single for a long time.
I just want to say this to the young men, so it doesn't look like we have not balanced this conversation. Young men, please have respect for yourselves. You have respect for having respect for yourself is not on the same level as being a proud person. Have respect for yourself. Because if you have respect for yourself, you know, what will come out of you is a confidence that the lady sees it irrespective of where she is in life. One of the things that becomes important is, let the girl see, and don't become an everly aspirational person. Aspiration has to have some commensurate action to get you to that destination where you want to go to. So this whole conversation about girl, money. How much do you even have, young man, that is the girl wants to chop it all? So if you have respect for yourself, what the girl will look for, and like Pastor Dare said, is the responsibility of purpose. If you have responsibility of purpose, trust me, there's no girl you can't talk to.
Thank you very much, sir. It's been a very awesome time, but just two things to note. Second to the last and the last two questions, rather, before this last one. The person that wants to call it quick on marriage and the person that needs some level of counseling with regard to sex. Please kindly see any of the pastors, any of members of the panel before you leave today. Please, it's very important. Let's balance it up. Let's take this conversation to the next level, and let's make sure that indeed you are really coming out victorious with these things. And lastly, it's been said, men, know who you are. Be proud of who you are. Have a focus on where you are going to. Don't just be a person that is living a life for others. Marriage is not on Instagram. It is reality. Don't just look at the story of those that you see around. Vacation in Paris, lunch in Bahamas. You know, you call Mujawni London, Muloshawan America. It's not all about that. We make it work, and the Lord will help us. With Jesus' joy, can we celebrate every member of the panel, please?